Hey folks, it's been 1 month since I released the Hero Gear video guide, and ZBrave and I launched the Kingshot Optimizer website. We've had over 50,000 views of the guide and 100,000 optimizations run on the website. So you can only imagine the amount of feedback we've been sifting through. Thanks for your high levels of engagement to build this community resource even further. And while we've been making lots of little tweaks and changes along the way, I want to share 3 overall themes that we've been hearing and discuss how we're addressing them with updates to the optimizer for this KVK, and theory crafting how you can continue to use the tool to grow your account most effectively. And at this point, if you haven't watched the original video linked below in the description, I highly recommend it because this video will build on those concepts. Now, this first feedback theme we've heard from players is around those stat weight profiles, and in particular around the Gen 4 new normal profile. This came in the form of questions like, I'm partway into Gen 3, should I use the Gen 4 profile? Or, I'm not planning on building Elcar, is this still relevant? Now, to answer this, let's first take a step back and talk about what these weight profiles are actually trying to do. Each build is trying to capture a different logic for why you would select it and translate that into a relative value for each stat type. So if you wanted to accelerate early game progression and resource collection, then do the early game growth profile, and so on and so forth. But with respect to the Gen 4 weight, it's about trying to future-proof your account once you stop having as much incentive for raising your stats asymmetrically, either for early game growth or combat. And here we see Elcar and Margot as just symptoms of a larger problem, which is potential swings in meta from hero generation to hero generation. However, every swing in meta we have seen so far still relies on a heavy share of infantry. We don't expect this to change going forward due to fundamentals of combat design, and thus we see infantry as a relatively safe store of account value, and that even includes infantry lethality, when we compare it to archer health or cavalry health, for example. Now again, this is due to combat fundamentals in the case of cavalry health. Archers are a bit more exposed to damage than cavalry are, but we also see them being omitted from certain Gen 4 formations. Now, infantry lethality is still weighted slightly less than cavalry lethality and archer lethality due to some inherent disadvantages in damage dealing capacity, but it becomes a necessary investment if you, for example, suddenly can't rely on outsized archer lethality or cavalry lethality to deal damage due to a shift in your formation. Therefore, it's quite possible we'll see a future in which infantry always create the backbone of the formation, and the damage dealing part of the formation swings between archers and cavalry depending on current hero meta that generation. Now, it's impossible to know for sure, and we do reserve the right to tweak formations going forward as new information becomes available. But this is the real reason that there is favoritism in infantry combat stats. Elcar only helps push this further during Generation 4. Accordingly, we've renamed this one as Future-Proofed Build that you'll want to start switching into when you approach Gen 4. Now, the second key feedback theme we've heard about the optimizer relates to people seeing different results if they had more resources available. And this leads to users wondering if they were truly getting the most optimal results in their unique upgrade plan. And again, to address this, we need to step back a little bit and talk about what the optimizer is actually doing when you hit this big ol' optimize button. It's actually optimizing your investment in hero gear, not optimizing the hero gear itself. And there's a difference. Optimizing your investment means taking into account your current hero gear position, right, wrong, or indifferent to how optimized it was in the past. And while it does try to reallocate experience, it will not do the same with forge hammers due to the 50% loss. And this creates a natural tension between what is best for your current situation and what might be an optimal path for hero investment in a vacuum. Or multiple paths actually, since it would be different based on each weight profile. And this issue is most prevalent in the late game optimization of red gear imbuement due to the outsized resource cost, as well as large bonuses at stake. Now, our optimizer does look steps ahead to check for other local maxima, but it cannot check on all possible orders of all possible upgrades until you max out all 12 pieces, because it would be too time and resource intensive. And it also wouldn't even be that helpful with the main use case that users of the tool have, which is, I have resources, and I want to invest in hero gear during KVK, so where should I put them? Now, all of that said, we do recognize that there is a different type of question some of you have relating to planning, which is, what if I just waited longer to upgrade? What if I get more resources to use? What sort of material should I be trying to focus on in preparation for a KVK 2 weeks from now? And for those sorts of questions, a single optimizer output focusing on a local maximum point of arbitrage is less than ideal. So we've made 3 significant updates to the tool to help get at these questions in different ways. First, we've added an option that allows the user to tack on a near-miss analysis. This will help you understand additional local maximum points of investment you could get if only you had 10% more resources, which may be in striking distance for most players. If there is no incremental improvement, you can feel more secure knowing you are making the best choice. And secondly, we added a red gear blocker analysis. This is especially important for late game players prioritizing around those oh-so-important imbuement levels. This helps bring clarity to times where the optimizer was coming back with low or even no suggested upgrades because the player may not have enough materials for any upgrade. Here it will clearly state what is the next most optimal upgrade and the specific resources that you are short. And finally, for you theory crafters and very long-term planners out there, we have added an entirely new planning module that allows you to do various what-if analyses on top of your current upgrade plan. This will allow you to customize beyond that 10% look-ahead option we provide in the main module, and we're looking to continue to add new features specifically to the planning module over time. So let us know in the comments what you would like to see more of here. And the final theme of feedback comes from a desire to optimize around more than 3 heroes. Some folks were asking for top 5 for Conquest, and some were asking about top 9 for multi-team events. For this, there is both a technical and a philosophical aspect we need to consider. From a technical standpoint, including such a feature would require us to alter the algorithm to incorporate Conquest stats as well as come up with a logic that equates the weight of expedition stats between teams. For example, how much is a point of infantry health worth on your primary team versus your secondary or tertiary team? This is a big judgment call and can have a high sensitivity for the output. At the same time, from a philosophical lens, I would be willing to estimate that the vast majority of the return on hero gear investment in this game comes from your top 3 heroes. If I were forced to put a number on it, I would say something like 85% of the value comes from the gear on your main 3 heroes, and maybe another 10% coming from heroes 4 and 5 in Conquest and Arena, and the remaining 5% coming from heroes 6 through 9 from multiple team modes like Mystic Trials and Tri-Alliance Clash. Now that's certainly not at the level of granularity to actually implement anything in such an algorithm. It's just my slothy gut feel. But this does mean philosophically that while many users have asked for this and they think they want it, they probably actually don't want it if their goal is to truly accelerate their account progression. Making gear investment decisions for something like Conquest or Arena will be a bit like the tail wagging the dog. So to try to satisfy some of this curiosity without retooling the entire optimizer, we've reached a compromise. Players can now save their hero lineups locally between their devices and jump between them. In addition to helping those of you who may play a farm account and are tired of re-entering your data, this also helps you simulate for multiple teams worth of gear within a single account and set a resource budget that you want to allocate to them. This removes a lot of that algorithmic complexity by putting you in the driver's seat of how much resourcing you want to allocate to heroes beyond your top 3 and giving you the same benefits of the optimizer for them. And again, this information is all stored locally on your device. We don't store any of this gameplay data server side, so if you want to move your work to a different device, or even just don't want to lose your work because you need to clear your browser cache, then simply copy your current gear code to a new device, or share it with your friends if you want. And in addition to this feature, we've also made a number of quality of life enhancements to the user experience. And here, ZBrave and I would particularly like to thank Birdie from Kingdom 902 for support in UI UX testing and providing suggestions for improvement. You can actually see our full catalog of improvements from the release notes, including more shoutouts to many of you that have helped report issues or suggestions over the last month. ZBrave has made about 1 to 2 updates every week since launch, and many of them are quite substantial. Some of the more notable improvements include a town center level constraint for you early game users, enhanced CSV exporting, the instant application of optimizer results to your inputs to save time, clearer resource labels as well as a gear to consume for experience calculator, friendly URLs for better shareability as well as a frequently asked questions page, KVK points calculator, sorting options for your individualized upgrade plan, and many more tweaks and bug fixes. As always, I'd like to thank my Sloth Squad channel members for their support of my channel, However, this time, I would also like to thank a number of users who found their way to the Support Us page on the website. We didn't call attention to it on the first video, but many of you found it and did support us to help offset the hosting and CPU costs for running the algorithm. In particular, thanks to Dustin Tron, Heavenly Demon, Bizzle234, Bacon Pie, Jeffrey, and Bot1289 for supporting us via the Buy Me a Coffee link. Your support is greatly appreciated and has gone a long way to start to offset our initial costs to setting this all up. So where do we go from here? Well, it feels like we're getting to a stable place with the beta that we can continue building on, and we intend to start localization to additional languages based on some of your feedback. And for that, we could use bilingual volunteers. So if you're interested in helping, please let us know in the comments. And as a sneak peek, in our staging environment, we're also laying some groundwork for Governor Gear and Charm optimization problems. So keep an eye out for a new video guide and optimizer modules on that. We're hoping to get to it before the next KVK in January, but this is still a volunteer activity, so we can only devote so much time to it. Thanks again for everyone's support, and please do keep sharing this tool with your alliance. It helps us gain the scale and support we need to keep improving. And as always, happy gaming out there.